I bet many of you are going to be running to Dollar Tree to grab their reindeer moss after seeing the ideas that I have for you. In fact, I have 25 awesome hacks and DIYs to share in today's new video. Welcome everyone, my name is Shannon from TheDailyDIYer.com, and yep, sure enough, the first project, you're definitely going to need some moss, and for all the rest of the projects throughout this video too. I'm sure you've seen the really cute moss words and letters. Well, you can actually find these galvanized metal wording motifs at Dollar Tree as well. I picked up this really cute one, had a little birdie on it too, very perfect for springtime right now. And all you have to do is take your hot glue gun, add it to the metal sign, and start packing in your moss. So you're going to be pulling off some of the excess as you go, but the best tip I have for you here is to add as much of that glue onto the sign as you can, get as close to the edges as you can, and then pack down and push down that moss into the glue. It's going to look messy at first, but that's not a problem, as once we get most of the moss onto each one of these letters, we're going to come in with some scissors and we're going to start cleaning it up. So not only are you going to kind of shake off the excess, you're going to cut off the excess too. So as you can see, I'm just going around the outline of the letter. You can also give it a little bit of a haircut and trim it down on the front if you want more of a clean look. That will give it more of a kind of fresh look versus one that's a little bit too messy. You also don't want to forget to get into the insides of some of those letters, like the H there off to the side. I found it easier to kind of work a little at a time, so add the moss, trim it up, and then work my way across until it had a nice clean look once I got to the end. And as you can notice too, I did not put any moss on the bird. I thought it would be cute to kind of leave him be so he stood out a little bit more, but you could always add moss to him. You could paint that, or you could cut it off with a heavy-duty pair of scissors. Moss makes for some of the cutest spring decor, and so is this next project. We're going to need a couple of these candle holders from Dollar Tree, and we're also going to need some Spanish moss. So I'm not going to be using this a lot in this video. We're going to focus on the green reindeer moss for the most part, but the Spanish moss is going to be a nice base for some nests that we're going to make for our springtime decor. So I just took out a section, cut off a little section, and then pulled it apart to make sort of a line, and then wrapped it around my hand to make a circle. And then we're going to start using our thumbs and pushing that Spanish moss into the center. And as you can see, we're starting to form the base of our nest. So once we get that good, we are actually going to come in now with our green reindeer moss and kind of add a little bit here and there. This is going to give it that green tone, obviously, but also give it a little bit more life, a little bit more color, a little bit more texture, make it look more alive, much prettier for springtime. And then once we get that just kind of tucked in there, we're going to take our candle holder and then tuck the nest into the top. If you wanted to, you could add a little bit of hot glue here, but I actually like being able to take things apart after the season is over and reuse them down the road or for different holidays and seasons too. So I didn't use any glue for this project. And then once I had my little nest into that candle holder, popped a faux birdie egg in there, which you can get from the craft store. Did 2 of those, made them in varying heights, super cute for a little shelf decor. Now we're going to make a little framed wreath, and I needed a base for the wreath, so I grabbed this wired jute from Dollar Tree, and I also grabbed one of these framed signs, which was back during the fall time, but you can get them different holidays too, so keep your eyes open. They have the cute little beaded handle at the top that you can leave or take off, but I decided to leave mine on there. I like that extra little special touch. I did try to get the design off the front of this and then kind of gave up, so I took out a piece of white cardstock, traced it, and then cut it out with my scissors. We're going to use this for the inside of the frame. It was a little bit plain looking, so I just took my ruler and added some straight lines every inch up the front of this piece of paper, which gave it more of a beadboard or shiplap look. Now you want to make sure this paper is going to stay on the inside of your frame, so use some double-sided adhesive here on the back side of the paper and then put it onto the back of the inside of the frame. Press that down and reinsert it into the frame. Now for that wreath, we're going to take that wired jute and we're going to undo it off of the original roll here and start making our wreath frame by sizing it with our frame. So I just kind of put it inside the frame until I was happy with the size and then wrapped it around a couple times to give it some more depth for our moss to hang on to. So I cut off the end and then kind of twisted the ends so they would stay all together in that circle, twisted the side up a little bit too. We want this to become one big wreath and not have a bunch of like tails or anything coming off. Then we're gonna take our hot glue and glue it right down to the inside of the frame, and then we'll start adding our moss. So again, using some hot glue here, coming in with our moss and just attaching it into the hot glue, packing it down and around. I really wanted this to look more organic looking. I didn't want to like perfectly circled wreath, so I put a little bit here, a little bit there, left some of that jute showing through, which gave it just a little bit more character. Once you get all the way around the wreath with the moss, you can shake off any extra and pick off any extra. And once you're happy with it, you have a cute framed wreath. You can use this on a shelf to sit up and be a little shelf sitter, or it's got obviously the handle on the top, so you could even hang this on a wall too. I stumbled across this cute little home wooden house, cute beaded piece. I don't know what it is exactly, shelf sitter. And I thought, you know what? Some moss would really make this look even more beautiful, bring it in for more of a springtime look. So this is a super quick and easy way to update these. Take your hot glue, add it to the roof lines of those houses, and then pack your moss down into the glue on both sides, and then just pick off any extra. I actually went in with my scissors and I was a little bit too scissor happy, and I made it look just too perfect and too nice, and I actually ended up going back later on and adding more moss to the first one because it just was too nice and perfect. So actually with moss, I like the messiness look with this versus the real tailored look. So that is my preference, but if you like it really cut down like a haircut and it's perfect looking, you can do that. But as you can see, I'm adding some more moss here and just kind of knocking off any of the extra to have more of a natural look. So I love the springy, mossy look of these now, and I wish I would have got another one because I think this would be so cute if you added some faux snow to the top of these for a more wintertime and Christmas time look. So you can take basic things, kind of update them in simple ways for whatever season or holiday you're needing some decor. Next, we're going to make some cute organic looking candle holders with these seed starter pots from Dollar Tree and also these 2-inch size styrofoam balls that are also from Dollar Tree. We're going to add a little bit of hot glue around the outside edge of the styrofoam ball and plop them right down into the inside of these pots. And it's basically just going to take up some space so we don't have to use a ton of moss. And now here's where that moss comes in. We're going to add some hot glue to the top of the styrofoam and the inside of these pots and pack down some moss on the inside of there. Doing that with all 3 of them. And then for those candles. So these candles are battery powered candles that I got from Amazon. I'll link those down below for you along with any of the other supplies that I'll be featuring in today's video. Makes it a lot easier to find the products to recreate these projects if you'd like to make them on your own. And as you can see, I'm just turning them on and then pushing them down into that styrofoam so they sit flat. So I ended up making 3 of these. Creating a vignette with a odd number is what is always more pleasing to the eye. So these 3 look really cute side by side, but you can make as many as you would like, or you can put them here and there wherever you need a little touch of light. Love the moss, love the spring look. I also want to bring back some of my absolute favorite moss projects from the past that are still so great now. We're going to make a little topiary using a small clay pot and also some styrofoam from Dollar Tree that we cut down to size and then push down into that clay pot. We're going to also add a wreath to the top of this, so you can find wreaths at the thrift store or at the craft store. But to make this wreath stay down into that styrofoam, I'm taking some floral wire, twisting it around the bottom, and then giving it little legs to stand on, and then hot gluing them into place as well to make sure that they stay. So here's a close-up look of that, and we're going to add some hot glue onto that wire and press that down into the styrofoam so it will sit up straight and we have a nice vertical wreath. Now we're going to use that moss from Dollar Tree to cover up not just the styrofoam, but we're going to also hot glue some onto the wreath itself. And I think a really funny story with this DIY was that I did actually use this outside on our potting station, which you'll see here in just a second. And the little birdies actually came and stole all that moss and used it for their nests. So I actually may do this again this year, create a little decorative piece, and it also kind of provides some nesting for our birdie friends too. And it kind of makes it even look more rustic as they kind of pick off this wreath. But just a fun little decorative piece. But if you can put this inside, it also looks super cute, and obviously you won't have the worry of the birds coming and stealing your decor. I swear, I'm pretty sure Dollar Tree has had these flower and garden metal oval buckets for 10 years now. It's one of those tried and true products you can almost bank that you'll be able to find every spring. And we're just going to decorate this up for springtime. So I had some leftover corks from another project that I added onto the bottom of this for feet, and then took that moss and hot glued it around the edge, which makes for a really cute decorative planter. You could add plants in here. You could put it in your kitchen and put kitchen supplies and materials in there. Whatever fits your decor, just a cute way to accent these buckets and give them a little bit different of a look. This DIY is a hanging birdhouse, and at one time Dollar Tree used to have these wood birdhouse kits in the kids section and the craft section, but if you take some hot glue and you piece them together, they go together really quickly and turn into the cutest little birdhouses. You can also find mini birdhouses at craft stores too. Just look out where you usually shop. Usually you can find them, like I said, at craft stores too if you can't find the Dollar Tree ones. Now we're going to make the frame for this birdhouse to hang in. So this is an 8x10 sized canvas that I removed the canvas off of, and then had a piece of scrap wood that we're going to use for the base. Went ahead, sanded everything down, and then painted it with some brown acrylic paint. You could also paint this a color. You could use wood stain for this, whatever kind of look you are going for. I wanted my birdhouse to have a different look than the frame, so instead of the brown wood, I went with a white paint for this, and it just turned out really cute and kind of neutralized it all. So here is what that birdhouse looks like all painted. We're going to take some of this floral moss and hot glue it onto the roof of the house. Super simple, super cute, springy look. And to hang this, we're going to take a cup hook. You can find these from Walmart, super affordable. And we are going to find the center of our canvas frame and screw in that cup hook. And then we are going to attach this frame onto the base so we can start hanging our birdhouse. And to attach the frame onto the scrap wood, I'm just using some 1 1/4 inch wood screws here, just screwing the bottom of the frame down into the scrap wood, just one on each side there. And then I also put a cup hook in the top of my birdhouse so then I could easily just hang the birdhouse from the cup hook on the frame. You can find these cute kind of wicker Easter eggs at Dollar Tree. Obviously during springtime, we're going to decorate them up with some of this moss instead though. That's going to give them a little bit more of a classy look. And I also want to mention that I like to use pizza pans to kind of catch any kind of messes because obviously moss is very, very messy. So this is a little tip and trick, and you can find those at Dollar Tree too. So all we're doing here is using some hot glue to go around the outside of those wicker eggs, and then adding the moss into the glue, packing it all down, kind of using your hands to roll it around so it's all covered, and just easy peasy, we have a moss Easter egg. I displayed mine in these vintage toothpick holders that used to be my great grandmother's, and they just look really cute and a fun way to add a little bit of spring touches to your decor. They also look really, really cute paired with other rustic eggs that I've covered with jute and burlap and made some speckled eggs with some paint on and just added into a bowl with a wreath around it. I definitely know I've shared this a couple times before, but it's one of my favorite springtime projects, using one of those clear plastic bowls from Dollar Tree, some of these styrofoam balls, the small size that are 1.4 inches, which is awesome because they come in a set of 6. You're also going to need a brown paper bag and also some tulips. Dollar Tree has tulips, but these I got from Amazon. I love them because they're the real feel, so they look so much nicer than the ones from Dollar Tree, and a lot of the reason is because of the stem and because of the leaves that are on these versus the ones that are at Dollar Tree. So what I've done here is cut down the stem, inserted my flower into the styrofoam ball, did that for all of them, and we're going to turn these balls into ones that look like bulbs, so they look even more realistic and lifelike. So I'm taking my paper bag, cut the bottom off, cut up the sides so I had one piece, and then crumpled it all up in my hands, refolded it out, spread it out, smoothed it out. That gave it some nice texture, and we're going to cover the styrofoam with these paper bags. So you're going to cut down a smaller, more manageable strip of paper, and then we're going to use some Mod Podge to attach the paper onto the styrofoam. So just like you would do with any Mod Podge, you want some on the inside of the paper and on the outside to seal it in. While all of those are drying, we're going to work on the container that is going to sit into. So I took the stickers off the container, grabbed these white rocks from Dollar Tree and put them in the bottom of the container. Then comes in that moss. We're going to use that on top here, and it's going to give it a nice layered look. Then we need to make it possible for our flowers to stand up straight in our container. So I just took some dowel rods, cut them down to about 2 inches long, and we're going to insert those into the bottoms of the styrofoam. I just used an X-Acto knife here and cut an X shape just to make enough room through the paper for those dowel rods to slide in there. A little bit of hot glue also will help keep it in place. And then we're going to make this even look more realistic with the help of some Spanish moss from Dollar Tree, just taking some hot glue and adding a little bit of that Spanish moss around the bottom of the bulb and right on top of those dowel rods. Did that for all the flowers, and then that is what is going to hold these realistic looking tulips up into our container. So you just kind of push it down into the moss and into the rocks, and as you can see, it will start to stand up by itself. So of course this looks so pretty in that clear container where you can see the rocks on the bottom and the moss on top of that, but these also look really pretty put into a wood box. So I made this wood box out of some hanging shelves from Dollar Tree, painted them to look like they were stained, put them all together, put moss inside, and then put those tulips on top. Another really beautiful and pretty look. You can get galvanized buckets at Dollar Tree, but they're $1.25, and I happen to be in Dollar General and found this one for only $1, so saved a little bit of money there. Keep your eye out, Dollar General. You can still find dollar items, which I appreciate. We're gonna make an Easter egg tree with this. So use some Dollar Tree styrofoam, put that into the bottom, and I found this cute kind of willow, I don't know what kind of plant or stem this is, but it looked really pretty and it looked like I could turn it into a tree. So I just cut the bottom off and we are gonna place that into our bucket. And we are going to also create some Easter eggs to hang from our tree. And to do that, I found these Easter eggs at Hobby Lobby. They're little teeny mini sized ones. And I used my hot glue gun to burn a hole into one of the ends, and then used some Dollar Tree twine to make a loop and hang on the inside there to be able to hang these on our tree. So here's our cute little Easter egg ornaments. Let's put this tree together now. So take your hot glue gun, we're gonna poke a hole in the center and add a bunch of hot glue onto the stem, and we're gonna insert the stem down into the center of the styrofoam. And then we could use regular moss to cover up the styrofoam here, but Dollar Tree also has these cute moss eggs or moss stones, and we're gonna start using those and hot gluing them all the way around the bottom, covering up the styrofoam, which gives it a different kind of look, which I really, really like. Then you can start hanging your little mini Easter egg ornaments from the branches after you kind of spread all those branches out. Super cute. I'm sure that this stem was made to be part of a floral arrangement, but we just turned it into a Easter egg tree, and I love it so much. And speaking of those faux moss stones, I have a couple more ideas of how you can use these. A cute way, especially for Valentine's Day, is to take something hard like a pen, or I'm using a paintbrush here, the handle of it, and kind of creating a little divot in the top. And as you can see, it looks like a little mini heart. So you can kind of manipulate the styrofoam that's on the inside of them and get a different shape. And these look so cute as a little vase filler or cute little thing to add to a bowl. You also probably could kind of roll these on a countertop and make them look like Easter eggs too. So there's another idea for you. But I just wanted to show you how easy this is to kind of manipulate these faux stones to get a different look. One more idea using these faux stones is to use them as part of a centerpiece, and this would be a cute idea for St. Patrick's Day. We're going to do a lot of green here. So we're going to take one of these trays from Dollar Tree and take some of these dried peas, split peas, which you can find at Walmart. I think they're like $1 for a bag, so still really affordable. And we're going to add some pillar candles on top of the peas, and then take some of those moss stones and kind of sprinkle them around the front and the back side of this, which gives you a cute, easy and quick centerpiece that can easily be changed out for different holidays and seasons. Now we're gonna get really crafty and creative with a wreath, some moss, and one of these garden trim pieces from Dollar Tree. They're plastic and they're super easy to cut apart, which is what I'm doing here with some miter shears. You can also use a heavy-duty pair of scissors, or some tin snips is really handy too. And what we're doing is actually cutting the decorative pieces out of the center, and we're going to need 3 or 4 of those total, so we can kind of go all the way around the inside of the wreath. 1 at the top, bottom, and then 1 on each side. So here is the design that we're going for. We need to put these all together though, so having a silicone mat is going to help a ton. I have some really, really cheap ones that I get on Amazon in like a set of 2 is like $7. So I'll link those down below for you. This is one of my mini sized ones though, and you can actually find these at Dollar Tree sometimes. So if you just need a small one, look there, or the bigger ones actually are a lot more handy if you're doing a lot of crafting, which are from Amazon that I said I would link below for you. So basically we are arranging these on our silicone mat, so those curls at the end are touching all the way around in those 4 points. And then we're going to take our hot glue and go right where those connecting points are and add a ton of glue so they stay together. So now we're going to move this off to the side, let it sit, harden up, cure, and dry all the way. And while that's happening, we're going to come in and work on our wreath. So we're taking that moss and adding it to a willow wreath. And I just did a little bit here and there. I didn't cover the entire wreath because I really liked the natural look of the wreath too. If you can't find these at Dollar Tree because they've been really hard to find lately, hit the thrift store. That's my next favorite place to shop for wreaths, or obviously a craft store has them too, or Amazon. Love Amazon as well. So just adding a little hint of moss onto our wreath, and then we're going to bring back in our garden trim pieces that should be set up by now. So I cut the pieces a little bit long. So what I did is I laid the wreath on top, marked, and then cut off any excess tails that was hanging over. Then you'll add some hot glue onto those tails and then place the wreath back on top, and we have a nice, beautiful wreath. You can leave it like this, which would be great for springtime or really any day, or we're going to take this to the next level and make this a St. Patrick's Day wreath. So what I did is I headed to Dollar Tree. Sometimes you can find the wood shamrock cutouts, but if not, look for other things that might work. And in this case, I found one of these wreaths, wood wreaths, and was able to cut a shamrock out of this wreath and make that work. And once upon a time, Dollar Tree used to have these moss sheets, and I wish they still did. But you can still find these at craft stores. Hobby Lobby is where I get mine. And just traced the shamrock onto the back of the sheet of moss and cut it out. And then all we have to do is hot glue that into the center of our wreath, and it turned into a St. Patrick's Day wreath. Such a cute idea, something you can add indoors or to your front door or a wall, or in this case, my cute little old coffee cabinet that I miss, but was super fun to decorate this the amount of time that I did have it. This is another fun crafty project. I had these little mini hearts from Valentine's Day, a Dollar Tree wood box dowel rod, and of course moss. We're going to take the moss and start covering up those 3 heart wreaths from Valentine's Day. I always keep hearts around because they make cute shamrocks come St. Patrick's Day. Here's those 3 hearts all covered up, and now we can use some hot glue and attach them together. So you're going to have a center one and then 2 side ones just to attach them at the sides. Now for the base, I had already painted that wood box from another project, so it was already done for me. I added a styrofoam ball to the inside of there, put some of this basket filler in to cover up the styrofoam. You could also do moss here as well. And then we're going to add the dowel rod onto the back side of those wreaths, or the heart wreaths. So just hot gluing that on, and it was a little bit long of a dowel rod, so I cut that down before then inserting it into the wood box. So looking cute already. What I did not like is the natural wood color of the dowel rod, so come in with some green paint here, which made it match much better. This is another super cute and simple addition to your St. Patrick's Day decor. Love the natural look of this. Now, if you're looking for a really quick idea of how to add a little touch of St. Patrick's Day to your decor, this is it. So this is a piece of foam styrofoam from Dollar Tree. I hot glued it onto the back of a moss sheet, cut it out, and that took all of 2 minutes tops. And then we're going to add a little stick, either a barbecue skewer or a dowel rod, onto the back of this, and then you can pop it into a flower arrangement, into a kitchen centerpiece, wherever you need that splash of St. Patrick's Day decor. If you really want to stick with the green theme, add it to some greenery. This is an IKEA plant that I had that I put into a Dollar Tree bucket. And here I'm just adding that dowel rod onto the back of the Moss Shamrock, hot gluing it on, and then sticking it into the arrangement. So like I said, easy peasy, but looks really cute and really classy too. So this idea is probably more for Valentine's Day, but we cute in a bedroom too. So I'm actually taking a piece of foam board from Dollar Tree and we're going to cut it into small strips. And we're actually going to do a little hack and trick to this foam board to make it look like wood. So here I am just using an X-Acto knife to cut a small piece in half, which I end up cutting down smaller. But I'm going to show you this hack of how to turn everyday items into one that looks like wood. You're gonna take like a mustard yellow color and give your piece that base coat and then let that dry. Once that is dry, I'll show you the next step, but while that's drying, I came in with a foam wreath from Dollar Tree and some of that moss, obviously, and used some hot glue to completely cover the wreath. Now let's get back to that faux wood finish. We're gonna need some dark brown acrylic paint along with a bristled paintbrush. And as you can see, we're gonna go around the edges of the foam board first. And then we're gonna come in and we are going to lightly brush stroke on that paint. We wanna be able to see some of the yellow still coming through, but as you paint it, you are going the same direction so it'll give it that wood grain finish. You're also gonna take a paper towel and kind of wipe it off too. And you can even layer on another coat if you wanted to and give it more streaks and give it even more texture and depth. So this is what it'll look like after the first coat. I did go ahead and come in with a second coat to obviously, like I said, give it more depth and texture. So just doing the same technique. Once that was dried, I came in and we are going to start putting this XO wreath combination together. And here's after the second coat, after it's dried, looking much more like wood versus foam board, right? And now we're going to make an X using some hot glue in the center there, and then taking some jute, and we are going to twist and tie that around the center. And then all you have to do is set this up one next to the other. We have our nice mossy wreath next to our faux wood X to give us a cute Valentine's Day decor. Or like I said, this would be cute in a bedroom too. All right, so in our last project, you saw a foam wreath from Dollar Tree, just like this one, completely covered in moss, but I want to give you a completely different look by doing something really, really simple. So what we're going to do here is we're going to cover, obviously, this entire moss, or this entire wreath with moss using hot glue. So just put a little glue on, put the moss in, pack it down, and work your way around until you get all the way around the wreath. Now to give this wreath even more character, you're going to take some thin jute. This is from Dollar Tree. And we're going to start by just adding this to the wreath. Just kind of wrap it around and then tie a knot on the back side. And then you'll take that bundle of jute and start wrapping it around your wreath and actually creating X's with it, which is going to give it a really cute decorative look, but it's also going to help hold on some of that moss so it doesn't all just fall off as easily without it. And then once you get done wrapping your wreath, you're going to cut a long tail and just tie it off in the back. And then once you flip it over, you have a really pretty wreath that we have simply created with the addition of some jute. Another tip here is to use some hairspray to keep some of the excess moss from falling off. You can get hairspray at Dollar Tree. You're just going to give it a good coat and it's going to act as a fixative to, like I said, keep the shedding of the moss down. To hang the wreath, I grabbed some of this burlap fabric from Dollar Tree and we're just going to loop it over one side of this wreath, cut it down, and then we're going to use that to hang up over a cabinet. You can do it over a door, wherever you need your wreath hung, but I actually had this antique or rustic old door that I painted and added some chalkboard paint to and a decal to, and it was just the perfect addition to the top of this. Moss also makes for a cute addition to the mat of a photo. So this is a kind of raised decorative sign from Dollar Tree, and I decided to turn it into a picture frame. So I cut a square and then measured out the size to find the center and then traced that onto the center so that way I could cut out the center and it would be all even on all sides. Cut out the center, I just used an X-Acto knife. I had to run it over my line several times as this was like a chipboard, so it was pretty thick. And once I did that and was able to get all the way through it, I just popped that square out of the center. There was quite a bit of roughness after I had cut through that so many times, so I just took some sandpaper onto it and smoothed out all those edges. And then we're going to start painting this out so it looks nice. So of course you can paint this whatever color you want. You could paint it green if you want it to match the green moss that is going to be added to this soon. But I went ahead and gave this more of a rustic look, giving it 2 coats of gray paint first. And then once those were dry, came in and lightly brushed it with some white to make it look more rustic. And then once that paint is dry, we can add our moss around the edge. So just using some hot glue and then packing that moss into the glue all the way around that opening. And again, coming in with that trick of using some hairspray all the way around it so it cuts down on some of the shedding that happens with the moss. Then we can flip this over to the back side, add our picture, and we have a nice moss framed photo. And oh my goodness, look at my little babies. They were so little. I bet they were probably 4 and 11 here. And now my daughter is going off to college this fall, and I'm just beside myself, about to turn 18. My son is 11 now and a huge soccer player and soccer fan, and just has such a personality now. They are growing up, and it is just breaking this mama's heart. I will say I am so grateful for these memories though, and love the look of this frame to keep that memory alive. And now we are going to do some terracotta pot painting here to make something similar to our candle holders that we made earlier, but this time we're going to make some mini topiaries. We're going to use these mini pots from Dollar Tree. We're going to add some styrofoam into the bottom, and then one of these small styrofoam balls from Dollar Tree attached onto the top here using a toothpick and some hot glue. And that saves us from having to use expensive styrofoam, but we're going to get a really cute topiary look. So here is a close-up look of that. We're going to go ahead and repeat that for these other 3 pots. Now to add the moss to these topiaries, we're just going to obviously use our hot glue technique again, adding some to the top of those styrofoam balls and working our way down around the bottom and kind of making it into a dome shape. Again, here we're coming in with our hairspray, using it as a fixative. It makes a big difference. It doesn't smell great, but it will dissipate as it airs out and dries. And then one extra little addition here is just tying some jute around the top rim. Just tying a knot and trimming off the ends gives it a little bit more life and texture. This is one of my favorite Pottery Barn hacks, making a large moss monogram. So if you head to Hobby Lobby, grab one of these wood letters and grab them when they're 40% off. You'll save a bunch. And then also, this is going to make life so much easier. Hobby Lobby also has these sheets of moss that are also adhesive backed. So again, you can use the Dollar Tree moss, but this will save you some time. And these sheets of moss actually were the absolute perfect size that I only needed 1 to cover this monogram. So I opened up the moss sheet and laid it upside down on my work surface, and then we are going to lay our monogram upside down on top of that and trace it so we can cover this wood letter. Now you are going to lay it on top of your wood letter, and just like contact paper, you're going to start at the top and just peel off some of the backing, and you're going to go a little at a time. It's going to make sure that you have precise placement, and it's also going to keep the backing free of any loose moss, which would keep it from sticking onto the wood. And it was really quick and easy. I also wanted to make sure I could hang this on our front door, so this is some white burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree. I just tied a knot down the way of the ribbon, so I would have 2 long tails on each side, and the knot would be the top center of where this is going to hang. So we're going to flip this over to the back side and start laying the burlap ribbon down onto the back. So this is my awesome battery powered brad nailer slash staple gun. I have staples in there, which worked great for this. And it is super easy to use. I will link it down below for you. You just power it back up with a USB charger, and it doesn't kick or anything, but it's still a good, strong, heavy-duty staple gun, which is going to save your hands if you have a lot of stapling to do. And here is what our monogram moss letter looks like hung up on the front door. It just really gave it that pop of springtime and made it look super cute with all of my plants and ferns on the front porch. I'm just going to keep showing this DIY because it keeps turning out so cute. You want to grab some of these stacking Easter eggs from Dollar Tree in their plus section. They're $5 and they have 3 tiers of these eggs, but we only need 2 of them. You're going to need some green spray paint, and we're just going to need the 2 bigger sized eggs, so the bottom and the middle. The top egg we don't need, hang on to it. It's always good to craft with those later, but we do need to cover up the hole at the top of these eggs since we're not using the smallest egg on top. So to make sure this all blended in together, I'm just using some white duct tape, and I just did a crisscross pattern and cut some of the ends off so they weren't too long so you don't see the ends of the duct tape once we go to spray paint these. And now outside we go. We are going to be covering these with moss. So I thought giving them a good green base would help hide any holes that maybe the moss doesn't cover. Obviously white is going to show through a lot easier than green. So this is going to save you some work and some time. So I did 2 coats of this green spray paint and then brought them back inside and start working on getting these moss bunny topiaries put together. So a little tip here is to cover your work surface. I used a shower curtain from Dollar Tree, and that's going to save us having to clean up a big mess of moss, which is going to happen for these big topiaries. For the ears of these bunnies, I grabbed a styrofoam cone from Dollar Tree and then cut it in half. We are going to cut these up a little bit more so they look more like bunny ears, but we're going to take care of this styrofoam mess. It's just a big messy project between the moss and the styrofoam, so a dust buster helps to have handy with cleanup. Now for the ears, we are going to take some scissors and round off the top of the cone and also kind of taper down the sides so it has more shape versus just like, you know, a straight cone. We want these to look like bunny ears. So we're going to do that on both halves of the cone and then hot glue them to the tops of the eggs. Of course, Dollar Tree has moss, and I would say you want to grab at least 5 packs of them, but I headed to the craft store knowing I was going to need a lot of moss. I grabbed a bigger pack from there. I'll also link this down in the description box below for you. It's a nice moss that's thicker and it's not all dried out like Dollar Trees can be sometimes. And I'm just, again, using hot glue to attach a lot of moss onto those styrofoam ears and then working my way down onto the eggs to cover them up. And as you'll see, it all just sort of starts becoming one big piece. I will also mention I just did the front side of this bunny. I didn't do the back side since you weren't going to see the back side. If you're going to see the back of your bunny, obviously you're going to want to add some moss back there too. Give him a little bow on the front of him. I just used some Dollar Tree burlap and lace ribbon, tied a simple bow, and then hot glued that around the neck. Just really added a little bit more character and subtleness to this bunny. We're going to put this bunny into a Dollar Tree planter. It happened to be the perfect size for the base and just made it look really, really nice since it looks like a metal fancy bottom or planter. You could put this outside, but obviously you're gonna have some of that moss blow away, so maybe under a covered porch would be okay, but I just love the look of this on my fireplace inside. This is another Pottery Barn hack. It was actually a concrete planter with moss in the inside of it, but we're going to make ours for a lot cheaper. This is a styrofoam heart wreath that I got from Amazon. I'll link it down below for you, but you can also find styrofoam wreaths at Dollar Tree, so keep your eye out for those. To make it look like concrete, I gave it a black base layer and then covered that with a layer of gray. And then I also added a little bit of white in there too to give it even more texture and make it look like concrete. So we do want to put moss in the middle of this, but we need to close up the back. So I had some leftover black foam board from Dollar Tree. So I just traced the inside of the heart a little bit larger than what it actually was, so we can add this layer to the back side. And I used an X-Acto knife to go around the line that I drew, and then we're going to hot glue that onto the back side of the wreath. Then, of course, we are going to need that moss from Dollar Trees. We're going to grab that, take it back into our craft room, flip the wreath back over, and just fill the inside with that moss using a little bit of hot glue to keep it down. I always love doing Pottery Barn dupes because you can save so much money recreating them. So this one I saved about 90% off DIYing versus buying it. So a fun, easy DIY that was super cute for Valentine's Day, but looks really nice too. If you're looking for more Pottery Barn hacks, I'll have a video popping up on your screen. Go ahead, click over, and I will see you over there. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a creative day.